and welcome to our look at the top 10 cruise ports of call for football fans. If you love cruising and you love football, why not mix your two passions whilst on a cruise holiday and visit one of these ports that are not only great ports of call in their own right, but they offer the chance to visit some of the most famous cathedrals of the sport. For the sake of this list, we have chosen ports that are great visits even if you don't like football, but that are also improved by being a football fan. These are places where your time on shore can be built around the sport, including visiting a famous stadium, taking a stadium tour, visiting a city district dominated by fandom of the sport, or locations that have a strong historical link to football. The very best destinations on this list are a mixture of some or of all of these points, but just which are, in our opinion, the top 10 cruise ports of call for football fans. As ever, don't forget to like and subscribe, and why not leave a comment below, as we would love to hear your views on this list. My name is Darren, and this is our look at the top 10 cruise ports of call for football fans. Greenock may be the only port on this list that most won't associate with football. Sorry to any Morton fans out there, but it is for the nearby city of Glasgow that is well worth placing on this list. That is not to take away anything from Greenock itself as a cruise port, as it offers arguably the best entry of any cruise port in the UK and easy access to popular tourist spots such as Loch Lomond. For football fans, it is all about the chance to visit Parkhead or Ibrox, the home of the old firm rivals of Celtic and Rangers, who have one of the strongest rivalries in world sport, never mind football. Glasgow is also the home to Hampden Park, the Scottish national stadium. Greek football is one of the most passionate in the world, and whilst that can be a great thing, sadly it can also be a devastating thing. It is in and around the nation's capital city that has the highest density of huge clubs, with the rivals of AEK, Panathinaikos and Olympiakos all based there. The impressive Parkhead Stadium is based in Paris, near to the cruise port, and lovers of football can also visit the OAKA Stadium, home to a few clubs, and was also the main venue of the Greek Olympics. Athens is also one of the busiest cruise ports in Europe and offers lots of chances to start or end your getaway there, as well as being a popular port of call for itineraries sail around the Eastern Med. Naples may not quite have the history and famous footballing moments when compared to many on this list, but the passion of the locals for the sport is often unrivaled. Whilst it has created as many negatives as positives down the years, and you perhaps won't want to dock there on a match day, their support of local club Napoli and the idolisation of Diego Maradona knows no bounds. The club stadium, named after their favourite son, is a throwback to when Italian football dominated the world and is well worth visiting. Aside from football, the port is also an incredibly popular one for cruisers and cruise lines alike, with the chance to explore the Neapolitan city one not to miss. Liverpool is one of England's most famous cities, and a lot of that is thanks to the city's musical history, including the Beatles of course, and for its football history, including the ferocious Merseyside derby matches of Liverpool and Everton. Fans can easily visit Liverpool's Anfield Stadium from the city centre cruise port, and now cruises are just a short riverside walk from Everton's new Bramley Dock Stadium that ships sail past before docking. Liverpool is also a great city to visit and is full of attractions and excursions to take in the northwest of England. This is one for the historians amongst you, as whilst football is a major sport in the country, and the city of Montevideo is still home to the vast majority of top clubs in Uruguay, it is for the fact that the first ever World Cup was held in the country that we place it on this list. Way back in 1930, Uruguay met Argentina in the first ever final, with the host coming away with a 4-2 win in a tournament where every match was hosted in the city. The stadium used for the final, Estadio Centenario, can still be visited, as can the grounds of top clubs including the likes of Boston River, Defensor, Liverpool, Nacional and Penarol. The city is also a great place to visit on a cruise thanks to its central cruise port location, great attractions, and the variety of itineraries it appears on, including ones heading south to Antarctica. Barcelona doesn't really need any sort of introduction as a cruise port. It is arguably the leading cruise port in Europe, and is also one of the continent's leading holiday destinations. There is an incredible number of attractions, sites and activities to enjoy when visiting the Catalan capital, and one of the most popular places to visit is the Camp Nou. Home to FC Barcelona, one of the most famous football clubs in the world, the stadium is one of the first to come to mind when thinking about football stadia. Although it is one of the most historic grounds in the sport, that has hosted many of the biggest matches in the game, including the Champions League final and even the Olympic football tournament final, it is also known as an ultra-modern stadium thanks to almost $500 million renovation. Most cruise lines will offer excursions to the ground and to take in the club's museum and tour, but the Estadio Canelo El Prat, home of Espanyol, and the Estadio Olympic Luz companies are also well worth a visit. Lisbon is one of Europe's leading cruise destinations, and thanks to a big investment in their cruise infrastructure, more and more lines are using it as a turnaround port. It is one of our favourite cruise ports in Europe as well, and has all you could want from a port, including a great entrance, a central docking area where you can simply walk off the ship without the need for shuttles, and there is plenty to enjoy around the city once ashore. For this list, it is the city's love of football that makes it a top pick, as it dominates the sporting scene in the city, which can be best seen by its two main football clubs, Sporting Club and Benfica, who are regulars in continental football competitions and have produced global stars such as Bernardo Silva, Eusebio and Ronaldo. Rio is a bucket list destination for so many holidaymakers, with its iconic attractions such as the Copacabana beach, its carnival, and the iconic Christ the Redeemer statue. It's no surprise why. It is also the leading cruise port in Brazil, which must be one of the first nations that comes to mind when you think about football. The country has produced so many stars who have gone on to play for the world's most famous clubs, and its iconic yellow and green shirts of the national team instantly come to mind when you think of World Cups and international football. Whilst many of those stars made their name in European football, they all started in domestic Brazilian football, which is home to a host of famous clubs, including the likes of Flamengo, Fluminense, and Vasco da Gama. What makes a city worthy of its spot on this list is the opportunity to fans to visit the legendary Maracanã football stadium, a ground that has hosted most of Brazil's star players and famous matches such as World Cup finals. Football in Istanbul is about so much more than football, with clubs and their fans also having a big impact, for better and often worse, on the political scene of the city and the country. Whilst off-the-field issues have stopped the clubs enjoying much success continentally, Istanbul's sides have dominated the domestic scene, with the three biggest clubs all based in the country's leading cruise destination. Besiktas, Fenerbahce and Galatasaray are known as the Big Three, and each have impressive stadiums for fans to visit, and are the heartbeat of the districts that they represent. From a cruising point of view, the city has spent heavily on improving its cruise infrastructure and is now a thriving turnaround port, whilst remaining a popular port of call as well. Football in Argentina is a religion, and nobody is a better showcase than its capital city of Buenos Aires. Not only is the city an incredible place to explore, but it is the country's main turnaround port, with itineraries taking in around the Horn journeys, sailings up to North America, transatlantic adventures, and Antarctic explorations. For the purpose of this list, it is the city's love of football that can be seen throughout the city and was highlighted by the millions who took to the streets following the country's 2022 World Cup win. Buenos Aires is also home to one of the world's greatest city rivalries, with River Plate and Boca Juniors having a world-famous rivalry that fans can experience with a visit to either the Estadio Más Monumental, home to River Plate, and most impressively with a visit to the Boca district. That is home to Boca Juniors and their colourful Bombonera ground, where the whole district is in reverence to the sport and to the heroes of the country, including Leo Messi and Diego Maradona. So all that remains to be said is thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed our look at the top 10 cruise ports of call for football fans, and see you next time.